Right, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To my dear, respected brothers and sisters out there, I hope that you are all in the best of health and Iman. So, today's video is going to be focusing on the test preview for unit number 4. Okay, so if you remember, this particular video is going to be focusing on the intermediate book there. There you go, intermediate book there, and also then be focusing on unit number 4. Okay, now I didn't get through as much as I would like on this particular unit. However, the test will reflect that. Okay, so these are for my own students, and for everybody else, you're welcome to follow along and go through the exam preview with us. That being said, for now, I would like to start off with a summary of what we did previously. Okay, so if I just simply move this, so if you guys remember the core subject, okay, of unit 4 is all about, and I'm sure you guys probably are screaming it, it's always about modal verbs. Okay, modal verbs. So if you guys remember, modal verbs, what are they? I mean, for start, they are verbs, right? They're verbs, and they are what we call helping verbs. Okay, helping verbs, or in Arabic they say maybe فعل مساعدة. Okay, so these are helping verbs, right? And they work in a similar way as other helping verbs, like the am is are, like have has, like like do and does, and so forth. Okay, and we looked into three kinds, guys. Okay, and the three kinds were, I'll just mention it now just quickly. There were can, okay, there were have to, and also there's one called be uh, allowed to. Okay, I'm just going to show it now on my screen. Okay, there we go. Oh, slightly on my face there. Yeah, so can, have to, and be allowed to. Okay, so one of them, by the way, they're all all modal verbs. Okay, they all behave like modal verbs. Okay, however, two of them don't look like your typical modal verb. Okay, so we'll find out a little bit later. Once we go through some of the forms. Okay, when we change them from a positive to a negative, or to a question. Okay, so these are the different forms. Okay, to think about, as well as the forms that are in the present, as well as the past. Okay, so the present حاضر, or past الماضي Arabic. Okay, good. So let's start off with the first one. We'll start with the word can. Okay, so can is your typical modal verb. Okay, I'm just going to just clear my screen. And can, when we write it in the positive, it looks like this. So let's say I write I can play. Let's say I can play chess. I like chess. I can play it. Alhamdulillah. So, and I show you that sentence. So I can play chess. Okay. So here we have can here. Sorry, not a point. Which is the helping verb, and the main verb is play. Okay, main verb is play. So what do we do here to make it into the negative and the positive? Let's have a look. So to make can in the negative, all we do is add not after can. Okay, so I will do a contraction, or اختصار, contraction. I'm going to write this way. I'm just going to show it now. So it's going to look like this. I can't play chess, and that's it. I cannot play chess. That's the negative. And if you want to make it into the question form, we can do it as well. So how does that look like? So it will look like, well, I'll read it for you. It should say, can I play chess? Question mark. Okay, and I'll just show that to you now. Can I play chess? So if you see that the can and the subject I simply swapped, yeah, in Arabic العكس, swapped. Okay, so they behave like your typical verb to be questions as well. They do swap. Okay, so that's easy enough. So this word can, by the way, follows a basic simple rule, really, quite a basic simple rule. And one thing to note is that which I mentioned, that modal verbs, what do? They allow us to express something. So can express a number of things. For example, can express ability, how to do something, that you know how to do something. Okay, can also express permission, right? Yeah, permission. In Arabic, they say اختصار, permission, that can I borrow this pen, or you can borrow this pen. So this is a way of expressing permissibility, right, in the English language. So this is can. How about the other two? Okay, let's look at the next one, which is have to, which is this one here. And have to is a little bit different. Okay, if you notice, instead of one word, we now have two. Okay, we have the verb have here, and then we also have the preposition to. Okay, but don't be fooled, this is a modal verb, right? But it doesn't look like one. So what rules can we do here to change the form from a negative and to a question? Okay, so have, okay, if you think about it, it can follow the present simple rules, where we use do or does for the negative and for the question. Okay, so how does that look like? So let's write a sentence in the positive. Let's say I have to, I have to play chess. Might as well use the same sentence. I have to play chess, right? So here, this sentence, what does it express, right? I have to, remember, kind of expresses what we call obligation. That's something that you need to do. Okay, need to do. All right. So here we have the here we have have to, which is the helping verb, guys, and then again we have the main verb play, right? Play. Okay, so how do we write that in the negative? Let's have a look. Okay, so to write it in the negative, all I have to do is, okay, do this. I don't have to play chess. Yeah, so you see that I've introduced another helping verb, right? So this helping verb allows us to modify this one, and then this one helps us to modify that one. Okay, so you kind of see three verbs, right? But the main verb is the one above my head here, which is play. Then we have the helping verb of play, which is have to, and then we have don't, which allows us to set the main verb play into the negative. So good, easy enough, right? So not like can we just simply add not, but right here we have to add don't. And of course, if this was a he, okay, what does that look like? We use he, she, or it. So we have to also change the main verb. So what we do is we say, let's say we say he has to play. Let's use positive first again. So we're going to say he has to play. If you noticed, the form of the verb has changed, right? It's no longer have, it is now has. So because of the subject, he has to play chess. And the negative of that, okay, again, we're going to use a different helping verb, which is going to be bear with me, guys. It's going to be this, right? It's going to be he doesn't. Sorry, I made a slight mistake there. Let me correct it. He doesn't have to play chess. Okay, let me just actually get rid of chess. It's getting the sentence getting too big. So there you go. So he doesn't, okay, and then we put the helping verb back to have. Why? Because does is already there, which conjugates the verb. He doesn't have to play chess. There you go. Okay, easy enough. And finally, the question form. How do we do the question form? Same thing, and I'm sure most of you already know. To make the question form, I'm going to go back to using I. Okay, so I'm going to say okay, so do I have to, and whatever that it may be. So I'm going to say the question becomes, do I have to play chess? All right. Okay, do I have to play chess? Good. And if I change the subject to a he or a she or a it, then I'll say, okay, and I'll say this. Does he have to play chess? Okay. Does he has to play chess? Okay. Does he have to play chess? Easy enough, right, guys? Hopefully it's easy enough. One more to look at. If you remember, there's also one more example, which is the here you go. Just didn't do anything there. It's going to be the be allowed to verb, okay, which is this one here. The be allowed to, and of course the be, okay, which is the verb to be, changes with the subject. So if I use the subject I, the be becomes am. I am allowed to. Okay. If I change the subject to a he, be becomes, okay, and is. He is allowed to. Okay. And finally, if I change it to a you or a we or a they, then the be, verb to be, changes to are. Okay. Are. So it becomes you are allowed to. Okay. So let me write a positive sentence. Okay. Use the word I for now. I am allowed to do something. Allowed to, let's say I'm allowed to play. Okay, make it simple. Here we go. I'm allowed to play. There you go. Whatever that is. Now, I'm allowed. What does that express now? Because if you remember, can express ability. It can express permission. Okay. Have to expresses an obligation where you have to do something. Okay. And now, allowed to. Okay. What does it do? It allows us to also express permission. Okay. Is there something that you are able to do? Do you have permission to do it? Right. So here I'm saying I'm allowed to play. Right. I'm allowed to play. Good. So how do we write that now in the negative as well as the positive? Okay, so let's do that. So the positive of this sentence, the negative of this sentence becomes, okay, I am not. Okay, so I'll show that to you. Becomes I am not allowed to play. Of course, you can say with the contraction, I'm not allowed to play as well. All right, so that's one way. It's another way. And when we write the question, just like the word can, we just have to do what? I'm sure you guys know by now. We have to swap the helping verb and the subject. Okay, so what does that look like? We're going to say, are you allowed to play question mark? Okay, so it looks like that. Are you allowed to play? Okay, so hopefully this has given you guys a refresher on what modal verbs are and how we use them in the sentence, as well as once we change the form. And one last thing is to talk about the past form for each of them. So the past form of can, okay, is going to be sure somebody knows. It's going to be, let me just show it to you guys. It's going to be could, right? So can becomes the past, and past of can is good, okay? And what about the past of have to? What about that? Okay, so the past of have to, write this down. Oops, sorry, I went a bit big there. So the past of have to becomes, just show that to you now, becomes, have to becomes had to, okay? You see, had to, right? My head is like slightly bopping right there. All right. So, and the last one, be allowed to. What does that look like? Okay, so let me just do that as well. And be allowed to, okay. Now that depends really, it can be two things, was or were allowed to. Okay, let me just throw that in here and share it. Now it's all now it's all over my face, so you guys, you can see it now, right? There you go. So be allowed becomes to, we use was or were. Okay, was or were. Actually, to make it a little bit easier, I'm just gonna remove the other two and just keep the last one. I think that's gonna be fair. There you go. There you go. So be allowed to becomes was or were allowed to. And of course, was, we use it with I, he, she, and it. And where, we use it with you, we, and they. Okay, good. Okay, I will be, for my students, of course, I'm just going to show you guys my screen. Here you go. Show you, I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation, okay, which is going to look like that, okay. And this PowerPoint is going to give you guys a summary of the uses of the modal verbs that we've just discussed, which is have to, can, and be allowed to. Okay, guys. So if you, this will be a copy for you just to give you guys more information, okay, that you can follow and gives you guys more guidance what to do. All right. Now it's time to review. Let me just go back to doing that, and then let me just go back to that and then transition. Okay, so now guys, I'm just going to remove, of course, that text group as well. Don't think we need that anymore. We need it. Right, well, actually, it's still there. I can't see why, but anyway, so yeah, so let me just remove the text, so we don't need that anymore above my head. Okay, it's a bit weird. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to open up the exam link and go through some examples with you, okay, so that you guys are familiar with the test. And after that, once I've published the video, you can then expect a link of the test to be available for you to complete. Okay, and it's important that you do so at the earliest possibility. Okay, guys. Right. So let's crack on then. In that case, let me just go here, and I'm going to do that. And I'm gonna switch. Okay. So now you should see my desktop screen, and you should see that this is the online intermediate unit 4 test. Okay. So as per usual, guys, as per usual, let us go through the test criteria. How does it work? Actually, let me just clear the form. Okay, so as usual, you should start off by writing your name in Arabic. So I will do the same thing now. Just change it to the Arabic text. I'm going to write my name, which is Muhammad. Muhammad Hussein. There you go. And of course, the employee number will be whatever yours is, but mine was just going to be random. And we're going to look at the first unit together. Okay, so the first unit, let me just make it bigger. Section 1. Okay, match the requests with the responses. Okay, and by the way, very important note, not all of the responses are used. Okay, so as an example, if somebody says 2 meals please, the typical response should be maybe, oh, okay, what is it, small, medium, large, okay, something like that. So here we have 6 questions. I'm going to help you with 3. Okay, so the first one says, can I have the menu, please? So this is somebody in the restaurant. So the waiter, what will he say? So he should say, I'm going to move this quickly. He should say, yes, of course, I'll bring it over, right? Yes, of course, I'll bring it over. Okay, polite and courteous. Good. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, the next one says, would you mind closing the door? Okay, somebody's asking if they can do something and they are not going to be bothered or annoyed by that action. Okay, so what is it think they want to do? I think the right one here is yes, yes, of course. Oh, sorry, no, not this one. Sorry. Here, that's the one. No, of course not. It's rather cold in here. So when somebody says, by the way, do you mind? And your response is, no, I don't mind. It means that you agree, okay? You agree with what they want. But if somebody then says, yes, I do mind, then you then have to, not carry out that action and ask them again if they wanted, if they want something different. Okay, so here the answer is no, of course not. It is rather cold in here. Maybe they want to close the window because, or the door, because cold air is coming into the room. All right, and the last one I'll do with you guys is this one. Here it says, could you tell me the code for Bristol, please? Okay, so they want the telephone code for the city of Bristol. So we're looking for a telephone code answer. I think this one looks like the right one. It says, I think it's 0117, but I'll just look it up. So this looks about right, and I'm sure most of you can agree. The remaining questions are yours to do. Let's go to the next section. And in section 2, guys, here we have to choose the correct negative, the correct question, or the correct past form. Okay, so for example, here we have a sentence that says, we can take photos in the mosque. And the prompt is that we need to change this sentence into the negative. Okay, guys? So the negative will be, we can't take photos, right? Simple as that. So let's look at how many we have. We have about 4. So let's do 2 together. Okay, here we have to. So they're using the modal verb have to, leave early, and we want us to change that sentence into a question. Okay, so what does that look like? And I'm sure you guys know that have to is, looks like a modal verb but doesn't behave like one. Right? Sorry, my excuse. It doesn't look like a modal verb, but it behaves like one. Okay, that's what I meant. So what do we do with this? To do the question, we have to use a do to make a question. So the answer is, do we have to leave early? Okay, and the next one here we have, he has. Okay, he has to work at weekends. And again, we want a question. So the question again, we must use the word does because of the word he. So it will be the last one. Does he have to work at weekends? Does he have to work at weekends? Okay, good. Let's move on to the next section. Section 3, what do we have to do? Here we have to complete the sentences with the correct form of what? Of the word can, have to, and be allowed to. So maybe we have to change the be to an am or an is or an are. Okay, so we have to think about it. So here's an example for you to sink your teeth in. Here we have you, something, wear a seatbelt when you go by car in Britain. So here we need to think about, can we say you can wear? Is it an ability or is it an obligation, guys? It's an obligation, right? Something that you have to, right? So we should say you have to wear a seatbelt. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5, so I'll help you guys with a couple. Okay, here we have some British children, blah, wear uniform at school. Okay, so what can we say? Some British people can wear uniform at school. Some British children have to wear uniform at school, or some British people are allowed to wear a uniform at school. What do you think is the best answer here? Let's think. The best answer is have to. Okay. Why? Now, if I chose the first one, can, okay, all right. So it just tells us that some children have the ability, all right, but it's a choice for them. It's not necessary, okay. And then we have allowed to, are allowed to, okay. So they don't need permission from the school to wear a uniform. It's the school that tells you if you should wear a uniform, okay. So the last one here, have to, is where there are schools. When I used to go to school, I had to wear a uniform, okay. This was part of the school policy, but not every school, you know, not every school, not every school have to wear a uniform, okay, but some do. All right, good. The next one here, you can see this is a question, okay. So what do we need to do here? Here we have something about subject you, and then we have smoke when you were young. Okay. So this is, they're talking about something in the past, something that you may have or may have not done when you were young. So here we have maybe, for example, were you allowed to smoke when you were a teenager? Could have, no, I say could and have did not work. Did you have to smoke? Okay, so is that an obligation to smoke? I think not. So the best answer would be, were you allowed to smoke when you were a teenager? Did someone give you permission to smoke? Okay, so that's a good answer there. The remaining three are yours. So let's look at the next section. Now, section 4, okay, what do we have to do? It says select what the following signs, remember the signs mean, okay? So here, for example, if you look at it, here we have a sign that says, please leave bags at the reception. Okay, so let's see how many we have. We have about 4, so I'll help you guys with 2, okay? So here it says, please leave bags at the reception. So what does it mean? Does it mean you have to leave your bag at the reception? You don't have to leave your bag. You're allowed to leave your bag, or you can leave your bag. What do you think is the better? Because what do you think would be the better answer here? Tick tock, tick tock. I would say you have to leave your bag at the reception. Okay, so you have a sign telling you, asking you kindly, please leave bags at the reception. Okay, so someone's asking you to do something, that you have to do something. Okay, so that would be the best answer. All right, the next one says, do not feed the animals. That's quite straightforward. So what does that mean? Does that mean you aren't allowed to feed the animals? You haven't got to feed the animals? You could feed the animals, or you don't have to feed the animals. Now, this obviously sounds very strict. So this needs permission. So we should say, you aren't allowed to feed the animals. Right, guys? You aren't allowed to feed the animals. Good. The last 2 are yours. And we're going to move to the last section of the test. Okay? So what's the last section here? So the last section of although it says section 7, I think it should be section 5. My apologies, the label's wrong there. I will correct it. Select the best advice, okay, from the following situations using should. Okay, so we use should, by the way, which is a modal verb, to give people advice or suggestion. Okay, so here's an example. Someone says, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. The response, so the advice should be, you should go to bed early tonight, right? To get more sleep, more rest. Okay, so here, how many we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to have quite about 6 here. So I'm going to help you guys with 2 or 3. Okay, so the first one says, my wallet has been stolen. So somebody stole his wallet. Okay, so what should be your advice to him or her? Okay, should you say you should tell your family about this, or you should go and check where you left it last, or you should report this to your local police? Okay, so what do you think, guys? I think it's the last one. And why? Remember, his wallet, okay, was, which is this wallet here. His wallet was stolen, right? So if it's stolen, we need to report this to the police, of course. Good. Let's go to the next one. It says, I feel ill. I feel ill. Okay, then they are unwell. I think I've got the flu. Okay, so what would you tell them? Or tell him or her? You should take an aspirin. Okay. You should think about exercising more, or you should go and see your family. I think the first one sounds better because it says you should take an aspirin. Okay, this will help you with your headache, with your fever, with your cold. Good advice. Okay, let's do one more. Here, someone says, I am bored, or I'm bored. I want to find a new hobby. Okay, so somebody's bored, they don't know what to do. What should we tell them? Or what should we tell him or her? You should go and see your family. You should try and explore more things that you might enjoy doing. Or you should try and spend more time on your own. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. I think the second one sounds about right. You should try and explore more things that you might enjoy doing. Okay, good. The remaining are yours, and that's it, guys, and that is it. So now you guys have an idea, okay, what to do, right? So you have enough information about the test, and as I said, I will be sharing the PowerPoint presentation for your reference, and you have now this video with some of the questions that I've answered in this video. Okay, so hopefully I expect great results from you guys. Do take care. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for your time. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bye bye.